Roaming livestock in the city faces the axe. Fostering media freedom and ethical journalism in Somalia. Last annual fighting enters its third day. Dozens of Somalis went missing in the earthquake that hit Turkey. We're glad to have you back. Now, other humanitarian organizations and the federal government of Somalia launched the proposal for a humanitarian response plan, in which they seek $2.6 billion to tackle the ongoing famine in Somalia, in which 7.8 million people have been affected and approximately 3.5 million livestock have perished. Somalia has been experiencing the worst drought in decades, as rainfall for the past 5 years have been below average. More than 1.4 million people have been displaced, and drought has decimated livestock, a crucial source of income for many, limiting children's access to milk. The situation is only getting worse, with the likelihood of famine in the coming months being more and more apparent if humanitarian aid is not sustained. In the midst of an unexpected curtailment of funding for the humanitarian assistance, 8.3 million people will likely experience high levels of acute food insecurity between April and June, including more than 727,000 who are likely to face catastrophic conditions. About 8 million people lack access to safe water, sanitation, hygiene services. Reported cholera and measles cases have surged compared to the recent years, and acute malnutrition has increased, the UN stated. However, conflict and insecurity continue to drive needs and hinder humanitarian access. Humanitarian organizations, local communities and government authorities have ramped up responses and reached 7.3 million people in 2022, according to the United Nations, but they need additional resources and hindered access to the people in need. Clan tensions, political rivalries, and Al-Shabaab insurgency seems to have bogged down the humanitarian organizations' ability to reach out to those in need. Now the main question remains how the federal government of Somalia will be able to curb this menace in order to improve the life of the common citizen living in this nation. Reporting for Dalsan TV, I'm Abdurrahman Yusuf. In strict action against animals roaming in the streets of Mogadishu, the Banadir Regional Administration yesterday slaughtered 150 cows. This follows a initial directive by the mayor of Mogadishu that inhibited stray animals from wandering in the streets of Mogadishu. It was a day of feast for the less fortunate. Here are the full details.
In a street action against animals roaming the street of Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, the Banadir Regional Administration (BRA) on Tuesday slaughtered over 150 cows. The action comes following multiple complaints of cows roaming in Mogadishu, the most populous in Somalia and also the center of the federal government. Speaking to the journalist in Hamarjajab, where the cows were slaughtered, the BRA Director of Development, Mohammed Sudi Mahmoud, said the owners of the animals failed to pay a fine of $50 in 24 hours.
qaybaha weli uu cadde iyo bartamaha ayaa lagu soo qabtay xoolo magaalada dhibaato ku ah bilicdeeda iyo nadaafadeeda operation-kaas waxaa fuliyay 17 degmay 3 deegaan maamulka gobolka Banaadir iyo guddi oo duqa magaalada u magacaabay soo nooleynta bilicda magaalada Muqdisho oo gudoomiye u yahay gudoomiye ku-xigeenka amniga siyaasadda gobolka Banaadir gudoomiye Boox maanta afar saac kadib waxaan fulinay go'aankii amba dikreetadii duqa magaalada ay ahayd in xoolaha magaalada ku nool ee laamiyada daaqa ee nadaafadda iyo bilicda magaalada dhibaateeya in la soo xareeyo muddo 24 saac hadday joogaan ee dadkii lahaa ay imaan waayaanna la gowraco sida ay dikreetada ku qorreed runtii waxaan soo xareynay shalay 168 neef 166 neef iyo 11 ariya waxaan garaahnay 30 neef oo lo ah
Last month, Banadir Regional Administration passed a directive that inhibited wandering of stray animals within the city's periphery. Speaking to Dalsan media, residents and entrepreneurs in Mogadishu complain about cattle within the area causing a menace to their businesses. According to the residents, the cattle feeding on garbage and crisscrossing the roads became an I saw in the urban centers, Bakara Market, and thanked the government for the intervention. On their part, the vendors stated that the cattle have formed an interesting pattern of roaming around vegetables and green maize selling points to throw away waste, which is now a rare precious meal to survive on. On several occasions, speeding motorists have rammed cattle, sheep and goats while crossing the road, leading to losses.
Clashes between the Somaliland forces and the locals in the Sol region in Las Anod has entered its third day. According to sources, the Somaliland forces shelled the town before the fighting broke out. Dozens were killed and wounded.
Clashes between Somaliland forces and locals in the Sol region of northern Somalia have entered the third day. According to sources, Somaliland forces have shelled the town before the fighting broke out. Dozens were killed and wounded. Somaliland troops who are still at their Gojada base 5 kilometers away from the town are attempting to capture the town. The clashes between Somaliland forces and local fighters come after weeks of tensions in the town following the killing of a local politician by masked gunmen. It was the latest in a series of assassinations in the town over many years, incidents which Somaliland authorities blamed on Al-Shabaab fighters. Somaliland declared its secession from Somalia in May 1991 but has not yet achieved international recognition. Despite the lack of recognition, Somaliland was widely praised by the international community for achieving stability and holding democratic elections. Meanwhile, foreign diplomatic missions in Mogadishu, including the European Union, African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, and the United States issued a brief statement calling for a peaceful settlement. On Tuesday, President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud asked both parties to embrace a ceasefire, noting that the cessation of hostilities was urgently needed. He said resolving the dispute will be part of the overall effort to gain the unity of Somalia. Put down the weapons, cease the fire, start a dialogue, President Mahmoud said.
Ambassador Jama Abdullahi Aidid, Somalia's ambassador to Turkey, voiced that dozens of Somali citizens have gone missing, while rescue operations are underway to rescue those that have been trapped under the rubble.
Ambassador Jama Abdullahi Aidid, Somalia's ambassador to Turkey, told the media that dozens of Somali are being missed in the earthquake while rescue operations are underway to rescue the people trapped in the ruins of the buildings. The ambassador also said they keep abreast of the Somali refugees living in one of the provinces affected by the earthquake. 10 provinces in Turkey, Adana, Adiyaman, Diyarbakir, Gaziantep, Hatay, Kilis, and among others have been placed under a 3-month state of emergency. The Kahramanmaraş province was the epicenter of both 7.7 and 7.6 magnitude earthquakes, which devastated 10 districts and affected over 13 million.
And now, as we wind up our bulletin, journalists in Somalia, in unison with a number of ambassadorial stakeholders, calling for the upholding of the press rights in the war-torn nation. The group advocated for media-friendly policies, stating that these will abate the militants' activities in the nation.
Journalist unions in Somalia, in unison with a number of ambassadorial stakeholders, call for upholding of press rights in the war-torn nation.
First, unbiased, independent reporting and journalism. It's a fundamental pillar of democracy. It's important for all of us. It's important to Somalia. However, unfortunately, journalism is increasingly also a dangerous profession, and you know this better than I do, all of you. It is on all of us, and I think that's part of the reason that we're here today, also with the international community. It is on all of us.
The group advocated for friendly media policies from the federal government of Somalia, stating that this would abate militants' activities in the nation. During an event held in the capital Mogadishu, Simha chairman Hassan Gese noted the important role the IMS and partners play in the way forward they play in the media.
sanadkan iyo sanadaha soo socda waxaan rabnaa haday suuragal tahay horta xoog in la saaro shuruuc kala xadida miidiyaha iyo dawladda oo dawladana aysan ku xadgudbi karin warbaahinta madaxa banaan sidaas si lamidana wariyuhu oo ethics-kii uu san ka bixi karin iyo dhaqankii saxaafadda ay qornaa waxay ku fiican tahay in shuruucdaas meesha ugu dambeysay la tago oo la dhaqan geliyo haddaba 90% waa maraysaa meel fiican la soo gaaray waxaan ka xumaa runtii shuruucda ugu dhaadheer ee baarlamaanka Soomaaliya horyaal inuu yahay Cabdullaahi Yuusuf iyo Aadan Madooba soo bilaabay baydhabay ka soo bilaabatay Allah naxariistay ilaa hadda ayaan daba soconaa baarlamaanka dadkii duwan ku jiray waxay sheegaan sharcigii ugu dheeraa laga dood inuu noqday marka.
He also thanked the stakeholders, IMS and FOJO for the support. Gese said the event is significant for Somali journalists as they are facing numerous working challenges in Somalia. Among the ambassadors who participated in the event virtually include Sten Sun Andersen, Denmark ambassador to Sweden, chargé d'affaires of British Embassy to Mogadishu.
Thank you for staying with us. That's all we had prepared for you from our desk here in Mogadishu. I'm Abdurrahman Yusuf, your presenter, and I would like to thank the Dalsan team for making this news edition a success. Have yourself a blessed night.